Ladies and gentlemen, in life, many people will try to measure your value by the way you look, by the money you earn, by the people you know, or by the positions you hold. But the truth is, the most powerful measurement of value does not come from the outside world, it comes from within. Self-worth is the inner compass that reminds us who we are, even when the world forgets. Think about it. When you know your worth, no one can make you feel small. People may underestimate you, doubt you, or even discourage you, but if you stand firm in the awareness of your value, you rise above all of it. A woman's true power does not come from external approval. It comes from the dignity she carries within. When she respects herself, she teaches the world how to treat her. When she believes in herself, she creates opportunities where none existed before. And when she lives with self-worth, she becomes unshakable in a world that is always trying to shake her. Let me share a small reflection. A diamond does not lose its value because it falls in the mud. No matter how dirty it gets, its worth remains the same. Similarly, circumstances, failures, or other people's opinions cannot reduce your value. Your worth is inherent, and it shines when you choose to recognize it. When women embrace their self-worth, they do not settle for less than they deserve, whether in relationships, in careers, or in life. They stop living for validation and start living with conviction. They realize that being kind does not mean being weak, and being strong does not mean being harsh. It means honoring themselves enough to walk away from what diminishes them and move towards what uplifts them. Self-worth empowers a woman to dream big, to speak up, to rise after every fall, and to inspire others to believe in themselves too. It is not arrogance, it is awareness. It is not pride, it is presence. It is the power to say, I am enough as I am, and I deserve to live with dignity, respect, and love. So, to every woman listening, never forget your worth. It is your greatest treasure, your deepest strength, and your brightest light. When you live from that place of worthiness, you not only transform your own life, you light the path for countless others. The world is quick to label. From the time a woman is young, she is told what beauty should look like, what success should feel like, and what role she must play to be accepted. Society creates a lens through which people expect her to see herself, and sadly, many women begin to measure their worth by those external definitions. If others approve, they feel valuable. If others criticize, they feel small. But true self-worth is not dependent on outside applause. It is the inner conviction that one's value is not up for debate, no matter what the world thinks. When a woman builds her identity solely on how others see her, she hands over her power. Think of it this way: if 10 people admire you, you glow. But if 10 people mock you, you shrink. In that case, who is really in control? Yourself or the opinions of others? Living for the world's approval is like chasing shadows. No matter how hard you run, you can never truly catch them. But when you anchor your value within, When you decide that your worth is not determined by likes, compliments, or titles, you gain a freedom that nothing outside can touch. Imagine a mirror. If the mirror is cracked, no matter how beautiful you are, the reflection will appear distorted. In the same way, if your sense of self is based on a broken lens of others' opinions, you will never see yourself clearly. But if your inner mirror is whole, if you believe in your dignity and your strengths, you will see yourself as you truly are, not as others try to define you. That is the essence of self-worth. There are countless examples around us. Some of the world's most inspiring women were once told they were not enough. Writers were rejected. Leaders were ridiculed. Pioneers were doubted. But because they valued themselves, they did not let those voices define their destiny. They understood that self-worth is the soil in which confidence grows, and confidence is the seed that produces greatness. Without that foundation, no success feels fulfilling, and no recognition feels secure. Self-worth is also about boundaries. When a woman values herself, she does not allow people to walk all over her. She learns the strength of saying no to what depletes her and yes to what nurtures her. She does not compromise her values for acceptance, nor does she tolerate disrespect in the name of love. Her worth is not a bargain, it is a standard. And once she sets that standard for herself, the world begins to respond accordingly in relationships, careers, and even in everyday interactions. In the difference between a woman who knows her worth and one who doubts it is like the difference between a lighthouse and a flickering candle. A lighthouse stands tall, guiding ships even in the fiercest storms, while a candle trembles at the slightest breeze. A woman with self-worth may face criticism, rejection, or challenges, but she stands firm, knowing that her value is not diminished by the storm. Ultimately, how a woman sees herself sets the tone for how life unfolds for her. If she sees herself as unworthy, she will accept less than she deserves. If she sees herself as valuable, she will attract respect, opportunities, and love that align with her belief. It all begins not with the world's view, but with her own. Self-worth, therefore, is not a luxury. It is the foundation of strength, dignity, and lasting empowerment. A woman who knows her value cannot be broken by criticism or rejection. Life is filled with moments when people will doubt you, misunderstand you, or even dismiss your efforts. It is easy to allow those external opinions to chip away at your confidence, to let rejection feel like a reflection of your true self. But the essence of self-worth is knowing that no comment, no judgment, and no denial can truly define who you are. When a woman is rooted in her sense of value, she views criticism not as a verdict on her existence, but as information she can choose to accept, learn from, or discard. Consider the stories of women who changed the world. Many of them faced relentless opposition and repeated rejection, yet they continued because they had an unwavering belief in their own abilities. When criticism came, they listened to the truth hidden within it and left behind the noise that was irrelevant. When rejection arrived, they understood that it was merely an event, not a permanent mark on their worth. This distinction is crucial. A woman with self-worth does not internalize external judgment as an accurate measure of her value. Instead, she filters it through the lens of her own understanding of herself. Rejection can be painful, yes, but it is often a catalyst for growth. When a woman knows her worth, she does not fear rejection. She welcomes it as part of the journey. Each no or failure becomes a lesson, a redirection, a stepping stone towards something greater. Self-worth allows her to remain resilient even when the world seems to conspire against her. It gives her the courage to rise after setbacks and the clarity to recognize that her value is independent of temporary outcomes. Another important aspect of this is the ability to detach from comparison. In a society that constantly measures success, beauty, and talent against others, it is easy to feel inadequate. But a woman grounded in self-worth knows that her journey is unique. She does not allow someone else's achievements or opinions to diminish her own. She celebrates her individuality, understanding that being herself is more valuable than trying to conform to someone else's expectations. Self-worth also strengthens the way a woman interacts with others. Because she knows she cannot be broken by external forces, she approaches relationships, careers, and challenges from a place of confidence rather than fear. She can express her opinions without hesitation, take risks without anxiety, and set boundaries without guilt. She becomes a source of stability and inspiration for others because she is not swayed by negativity or criticism. In essence, the power of knowing your value lies in immunity. Not immunity from failure, pain, or criticism, but immunity from letting these things define your self-perception. A woman with self-worth understands that her essence, her dignity, and her potential remain intact regardless of external circumstances. She realizes that the world may reject her ideas, underestimate her abilities, or even question her choices, but that does not reduce the light she carries within. Ultimately, this strength transforms every area of life. Challenges that might have crushed her before now become opportunities to prove her resilience. Voices that might have silenced her before now become background noise to her own inner guidance. In this way, self-worth is not just an internal belief. It is a superpower that makes a woman unshakable, unstoppable, and truly free. This is a subtle yet powerful truth. The way a woman values herself sets the standard for the way people interact with her. If she respects herself, others will respect her. If she accepts mistreatment, others will assume it is acceptable. Self-worth acts as a silent guide, communicating boundaries, dignity, and strength without needing to speak a word. Many women underestimate the power of this principle. They believe respect and kindness must be demanded from others, but in reality, true respect is earned and reflected through self-awareness. A woman who recognizes her own value doesn't wait for validation, she models it. She carries herself with confidence in her decisions, in her interactions, and in the choices she makes. This clarity and composure send a message to the world: I know my worth, and I will not compromise it. Consider the metaphor of a garden. When a woman nurtures herself, waters her talents, and removes the weeds of self-doubt, her aura becomes magnetic. People naturally respond to that energy, just as a healthy plant encourages bees to gather nectar. A woman who understands her value attracts respect, kindness, and support. She does not have to demand it, debate for it, or fight for it. Her self-worth creates it effortlessly. The boundaries are another expression of this power. A woman with strong self-worth does not tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or exploitation. She communicates clearly what is acceptable and what is not, often without raising her voice or engaging in conflict. This is not rigidity or arrogance. It is awareness. She is firm yet graceful, assertive yet compassionate. People sense it, and they adjust their behavior accordingly. It's a quiet authority built not on fear, but on the unwavering understanding of one's own value. Self-worth also teaches patience and discernment. A woman who knows her value does not rush to prove herself to those who do not recognize it. She understands that some people may never see her worth, and that is not a reflection of her limitations, but of their perception. By staying rooted in her self-respect, she avoids toxic relationships and unproductive interactions. She invests her energy where it is reciprocated and valued, which in turn strengthens her personal and professional life. This principle extends to all areas: family, friendships, workplace, and even casual encounters. A woman who carries herself with dignity does not need to explain, justify, or overcompensate. She sets the tone with her presence, her choices, and her reactions. People learn how to approach her, treat her, and speak to her through her consistent demonstration of self-worth. Moreover, this influence is often subtle but transformative. It inspires those around her to evaluate their own self, respect, and behavior. When a woman consistently honors herself, she becomes a role model. Others see that respect is not something to demand, but something to cultivate, beginning with oneself. In essence, self-worth is both a shield and a signal. It protects a woman from being undervalued while signaling to the world that she is deserving of dignity, kindness, and fairness. It quietly yet powerfully shapes relationships, interactions, and opportunities. A woman who knows her worth does not simply live. She sets the standard for how life should treat her. And in doing so, she empowers others to elevate their own behavior. It is the foundation for confidence, resilience, and inner peace. Confidence does not emerge from external recognition, nor does it come from fleeting achievements. It grows from a deep, unwavering awareness of one's intrinsic value. When a woman recognizes that she is inherently worthy, she develops a quiet strength that allows her to face life's challenges with courage, to navigate uncertainty with grace, and to remain steadfast in her decisions even when the world doubts her. Resilience, too, is born from self-worth. Life is filled with obstacles, setbacks, failures, heartbreaks, and disappointments. Without a strong sense of value, these challenges can crush the spirit, leading to self-doubt, fear, and despair. But a woman rooted in her self-worth understands that her value is not tied to temporary circumstances. Rejection does not define her, mistakes do not diminish her, and criticism does not shake her. Like a tree with deep roots, she bends in the storm without breaking. Knowing that her core remains intact, every challenge becomes a lesson, every failure an opportunity, and every struggle a step toward growth. Inner peace is another gift of self-worth. When a woman stops seeking validation from others, she stops chasing approval and comparing herself endlessly to others. She no longer fears judgment, nor does she allow external opinions to dictate her happiness. There is a serenity in realizing that you do not have to prove yourself to anyone because your value is inherent and undeniable. This inner calm allows her to make decisions from clarity rather than pressure, to act from love rather than fear, and to live a life that is authentic rather than performative. Self-worth also shapes how a woman sets and pursues goals. Confidence and resilience empower her to aim higher, to take calculated risks, and to persevere even when the path is difficult. She does not let fear of failure hold her back. Because she knows that her value does not hinge on the outcome, she approaches each challenge with determination, guided by the knowledge that every effort contributes to her growth, regardless of immediate success. This mindset transforms obstacles into opportunities, pressure into motivation, and uncertainty into a pathway for learning. Furthermore, self-worth affects relationships in profound ways. A woman who values herself attracts people who value her as well. She sets boundaries that protect her energy and ensures her interactions are healthy, respectful, and nurturing. She does not compromise her integrity for temporary comfort or acceptance. Because she respects herself, she inspires respect in others. She also becomes a source of stability, encouragement, and inspiration for those around her as her inner strength radiates outward. In essence, self-worth is the cornerstone of a fulfilling life. It is the lens through which a woman sees her potential, the shield that guards her heart, and the compass that guides her decisions. Confidence, resilience, and inner peace are not separate qualities she must seek. They are natural byproducts of recognizing and honoring her own value. A woman who knows her worth does not merely survive, she thrives. She faces challenges with courage, celebrates her achievements without arrogance, and navigates life with a sense of serenity and purpose. Ultimately, self-worth transforms a woman from someone who reacts to life into someone who shapes it. It allows her to stand tall in the face of adversity, to embrace uncertainty with optimism, and to create a life that reflects her true potential. When confidence, resilience, and inner peace are rooted in self-worth, a woman becomes unstoppable, not because life becomes easier, but because she becomes stronger, wiser, and unwavering in the knowledge of her own value. The external approval is temporary, but self-worth is eternal. Life constantly changes. People come and go. Opinions shift. Achievements rise and fall. And circumstances evolve. If a woman's sense of value is tied to these ever-changing factors, she will experience a roller coaster of emotions: elation when praised, despair when criticized, and insecurity when ignored. But when self-worth comes from within, it is unshakable and constant, providing a foundation that no external event can crumble. Think about it: fame, recognition, and compliments are fleeting. Today, you may be admired and celebrated. Tomorrow, the world's attention moves elsewhere. If your happiness and confidence rely solely on these external validations, you are at the mercy of the world's whims. But a woman who recognizes her intrinsic value knows that her worth does not depend on applause or acknowledgement. It exists independently of how others perceive her, and that understanding brings immense freedom. She no longer chases approval or seeks validation because she has already affirmed her own value. This understanding changes the way she interacts with the world. She approaches challenges, relationships, and opportunities from a place of strength rather than insecurity. When rejected, she does not crumble. She views it as an external event, not an internal verdict. When praised, she does not inflate her ego. She simply acknowledges it and continues to live in alignment with her values. Her happiness, confidence, and motivation are sustained not by temporary approval, but by the enduring belief in her own worth. Self-worth also empowers decision-making. A woman grounded in her intrinsic value makes choices based on what aligns with her principles, goals, and needs, not based on what will earn her praise or acceptance. She can say no without guilt and pursue opportunities without fear of judgment. She understands that seeking validation often leads to compromise, dissatisfaction, and regret. By relying on her own understanding of her worth, she navigates life with clarity and purpose. Moreover, this sense of eternal value fosters resilience. Life is filled with setbacks, criticism, and disappointment. Without a strong foundation of self-worth, these experiences can feel devastating. But a woman who knows her value sees them as temporary obstacles, not permanent reflections of her identity. She learns, grows, and moves forward with confidence, secure in the knowledge that no external circumstance can diminish her true self. There is also a profound emotional freedom in knowing that self-worth is eternal. She does not live in fear of being judged or rejected because she understands that her value is inherent and unchangeable. She does not need constant reassurance or approval because her sense of self is complete from within. This inner completeness allows her to love, give, and connect authentically without anxiety or insecurity. In essence, while external approval is like a wave that comes and goes, self-worth is the ocean, vast, deep, and constant. It supports her through storms and carries her forward with stability. A woman who internalizes this truth does not allow temporary opinions to dictate herself. perception, or her happiness. She becomes unshakable, grounded, and capable of living with dignity, courage, and purpose. Ultimately, recognizing that self-worth is eternal allows a woman to live authentically, embrace her strengths, and pursue her goals with confidence. It frees her from the chains of comparison, fear, and dependency on others' opinions. When she relies on her intrinsic value rather than fleeting approval, she becomes empowered to create a life that reflects her true potential, radiates her inner light, and inspires those around her. Like a diamond, true value remains regardless of circumstances. Life is unpredictable. There are moments of triumph and moments of struggle, days filled with joy and days colored by disappointment. In such a world, it is tempting to let circumstances define who we are or how we feel about ourselves. A kind word may boost confidence temporarily, while a harsh criticism can shake it. But a woman who understands herself worth knows that her intrinsic value is not conditional. It is constant, unchanging, and independent of external events. Consider the nature of a diamond. No matter where it is placed, whether in mud, dust, or dirt, it does not lose its brilliance. Its value is inherent. Similarly, a woman's worth does not diminish because of failure, rejection, or the opinions of others. Life may cover her with challenges, misunderstandings, and hardships, but her essence remains untouched. When she recognizes this truth, she develops an inner stability that allows her to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and confidence. This understanding changes the way she approaches challenges. Instead of viewing failure as a reflection of her inadequacy, she sees it as a temporary circumstance, an opportunity to learn, adapt, and grow. She does not collapse under the weight of criticism because she knows that it is an external viewpoint, not a judgment on her true self. Similarly, she does not become overconfident during moments of praise or success because she understands that her value is already complete, regardless of external recognition. Self-worth as an unchanging principle also influences relationships. A woman who sees her value as independent of others' opinions does not allow anyone to manipulate, belittle, or diminish her. She does not stay in toxic relationships out of fear of being alone. Nor does she rely on constant validation to feel worthy. She knows that her essence is precious and non-negotiable. By embodying this awareness, she naturally attracts people who respect, support, and honor her while repelling those who do not. Moreover, seeing oneself as inherently valuable fosters courage. When a woman understands that her worth is not dictated by circumstances, she takes bold steps toward her dreams, even when the path is uncertain. She dares to speak, act, and pursue goals without fear of failure or judgment. This courage is grounded in the unshakable knowledge that setbacks do not define her and that she is capable of rising above adversity. It is a quiet yet powerful strength born from the recognition that her essence is priceless. This perspective also nurtures resilience. Life will inevitably challenge everyone with hardships, loss, and unexpected changes. Those without self-worth may crumble under pressure, feeling diminished or inadequate. But a woman who understands her inherent value approaches challenges with the mindset of a diamond enduring pressure. She may bend, she may struggle, but she does not break. Her confidence, integrity, and dignity remain intact regardless of external circumstances. Ultimately, recognizing that her value is unchanging allows a woman to live with authenticity, courage, and freedom. She no longer measures herself against temporary situations, external opinions, or societal standards. Instead, she focuses on growth, contribution, and living aligned with her values. Like a diamond, she shines with brilliance that no hardship can dim, no criticism can tarnish, and no circumstance can diminish. Her self-worth becomes her anchor, guiding her through life with strength, grace, and unshakable confidence. Women with self-worth do not settle for less than they deserve. This is a profound truth that many struggle to embrace, especially in a world that constantly pressures women to compromise their values, dreams, or dignity to fit in or be accepted. A woman who understands her true value recognizes that settling for less is not merely a missed opportunity. It is a disservice to herself and to the life she is capable of creating. Settling often begins subtly. It may start with ignoring one's intuition, compromising one's principles, or accepting circumstances that feel uncomfortable or diminishing. Society may reinforce this behavior by suggesting that contentment comes from compliance, or that happiness is found in pleasing others. But a woman with self-worth refuses to accept these notions blindly. She knows that her dreams, her peace, and her integrity are non-negotiable. She understands that honoring herself is the first and most essential step in leading a fulfilled life. This refusal to settle is evident in all aspects of life, relationships, career choices, personal goals, and self-care. In relationships, for instance, a woman who knows her worth does not tolerate neglect, disrespect, or emotional manipulation. She understands that love is not about compromise at the cost of one's dignity. It is about mutual respect, understanding, and support. She walks away from toxic dynamics, not out of anger, but out of recognition that she deserves more. Her choice is not reactive. It is proactive and rooted in self-respect. In the professional realm, self-worth guides women to pursue opportunities that align with their talents, ambitions, and values. Instead of settling for roles that undervalue their skills or compromise their principles, they seek environments that recognize their potential and offer room for growth. They advocate for themselves, negotiate confidently, and refuse to let fear of rejection force them into mediocrity. Their self-worth empowers them to claim the recognition and opportunities they deserve. The refusal to settle also manifests in the daily choices a woman makes for her own well-being. She invests in her physical, emotional, and mental health, recognizing that self-care is not indulgence but necessity. She chooses habits, routines, and environments that uplift her rather than drain her. By doing so, She demonstrates to herself and others that her lifetime and energy are valuable. Settling for less would mean neglecting these essential aspects of self-respect. But self-worth ensures she does not compromise her needs or potential. Furthermore, a woman who refuses to settle becomes a source of inspiration. Her actions encourage others to recognize their own value and to pursue their highest potential. She models courage, strength, and integrity, showing that it is possible to demand the respect, love, and opportunities one deserves without arrogance or aggression. Her life becomes a testament to the idea that true fulfillment comes not from appeasing others, but from honoring oneself consistently and unpromisingly. Ultimately, self-worth is the standard by which a woman measures her choices, actions, and relationships. It prevents her from accepting less than she deserves and empowers her to pursue a life of authenticity, dignity, and purpose. By refusing to settle, she ensures that her life reflects her true potential, her values, and her dreams. It is this unwavering commitment to herself that transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary ones, and ordinary choices into acts of courage and empowerment. Self-worth allows women to balance strength with kindness. In today's world, there is often a misconception that being strong means being harsh, aggressive, or unyielding, and that being kind means being weak, submissive, or easily taken advantage of. However, a woman who knows her worth realizes that true power lies not in choosing one over the other, but in harmoniously integrating both. She understands that strength and kindness are not opposites. They are complementary forces that, when combined, create a presence that is both formidable and compassionate. A woman rooted in self-worth does not feel the need to prove herself through dominance or intimidation. Her confidence and understanding of her own value allow her to assert boundaries, make decisive choices, and navigate challenges without resorting to aggression. She does not need to control situations to feel secure, because her strength is internal and unwavering. At the same time, she does not suppress empathy, compassion, or generosity. She offers support, guidance, and understanding freely without allowing others to diminish her or take advantage of her kindness. This balance is evident in her interactions with others. In relationships, a woman with self-worth communicates clearly and respectfully, standing firm on her values while remaining open to dialogue and understanding. She is assertive without being abrasive and compassionate without being compromising. Her presence inspires trust, respect, and admiration because people sense that she is both capable and caring. She can lead without out-dominating and support without enabling, striking the perfect equilibrium between firmness and tenderness. In professional settings, this balance becomes a unique strength. Women who understand their value navigate challenges, negotiations, and teamwork with confidence and diplomacy. They do not shrink in the face of adversity, nor do they bulldoze over colleagues in pursuit of their goals. They can advocate for themselves and others while maintaining empathy and fairness. Their ability to combine assertiveness with understanding enables them to lead effectively, inspire loyalty, and create harmonious yet productive environments. Self-worth also allows a woman to approach her own growth with both rigor and self-compassion. She pushes herself to improve, to learn, and to rise above limitations, but she does not berate herself for mistakes or setbacks. She treats herself with kindness, understanding that self-respect does not require perfection. This balance between inner strength and self-compassion ensures that she remains resilient and motivated while preserving her emotional well-being. Moreover, balancing strength with kindness amplifies her influence. People are drawn to individuals who are strong enough to stand firm and kind enough to lift others. A woman who embodies both commands respect without fear, inspires loyalty without control, and leads without ego. Her self-worth acts as a guiding force, ensuring that her actions are rooted in authenticity rather than external expectations or societal pressures. Ultimately, the harmony between strength and kindness is a reflection of self-awareness and inner confidence. A woman who knows her worth does not compromise her principles to please others, nor does she let kindness be mistaken for weakness. She navigates life with courage and compassion, firmness and empathy, power and grace. This balance enables her to face challenges, foster meaningful connections, and create a life that is both impactful and deeply fulfilling. In this way, self-worth becomes not just a personal asset, but a force that positively shapes the world around her.